Are you eating what you think is healthy, yet your memory feels foggy, your vision isn't as sharp as it used to be, and nights still feel restless? Here's a surprising question I want you to sit with for a moment. What if one small food choice at night could quietly support your brain and eyes while you sleep? Because here's what's really going on inside your body as you age. After 50 or 60, the brain and eyes don't decline simply because of age. They decline because of metabolic stress, unstable blood sugar, chronic low-grade inflammation, oxidative damage, and reduced nighttime repair. The eyes are an extension of the brain. They are among the most metabolically active tissues in the body, meaning they are incredibly sensitive to nutrient deficiencies and insulin spikes. Most seniors focus on what they eat during the day, but almost no one pays attention to what happens at night. Nighttime is not passive. It's when your brain clears waste through the glymphatic system. It's when retinal cells repair light-induced damage. It's when insulin drops, melatonin rises, and growth factors signal healing. But this only happens efficiently if the metabolic environment is right. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Think of your brain and eyes like a city that schedules all road repairs at night. If traffic is calm and energy is steady, repairs happen smoothly. But if blood sugar spikes late in the evening from the wrong snack, repair crews can't get through, inflammation increases, oxidative stress rises, and healing slows down. Now here's the myth I want to gently challenge. Many people believe all dried fruit is too sugary and should be avoided at night. That belief is partially true and dangerously incomplete, because not all dried fruits act the same in the body. Some spike glucose aggressively. Others, when eaten correctly and in the right amount, support insulin stability, deliver neuroprotective compounds, and feed the very tissues that decline with age, especially the brain and eyes. And this is where functional medicine looks deeper. The goal is not to avoid food, it's to choose foods that work with nighttime physiology, not against it. Foods that calm the nervous system, protect neurons, reduce retinal inflammation, and support circadian repair. In today's talk, I'm going to walk you through one specific dried fruit, why timing matters so much, and how seniors can use it safely and effectively at night, without blood sugar crashes, weight gain, or digestive issues. You'll learn why the brain and eyes are uniquely vulnerable after sunset, how insulin, melatonin, and oxidative stress interact at night, why this dried fruit behaves differently from raisins or dates, and exactly how to use it as a therapeutic tool, not a dessert. If this kind of root cause, science-driven breakdown is helpful so far, consider subscribing. I share practical strategies like this every day to help you age with clarity, strength, and confidence. Now, before I tell you what this dried fruit is, let's lay the scientific foundation, because understanding the why is what makes the results stick. Here's what's really going on inside your body at night, especially as you get older, and why a simple food choice at the right time can matter so much. Let's start with metabolic rhythms. After you eat your last meal of the day, your body transitions from a fed state into a repair and renewal state. Insulin drops, growth hormone rises, melatonin is released, and your cells shift into a mode where repair, detoxification, and regeneration happen most efficiently. But here's the critical part. This only works if blood sugar is stable and inflammation is low. Even subtle glucose spikes after dinner can derail this process, creating a metabolic environment that interferes with repair processes in the brain and eyes. Now think of your brain and eyes like two highly active computer systems that run 24/7, but the night shift is when they get cleaned, defragged, and optimized. If you eat the wrong snack at night, it's like turning the power back on mid-cleaning. Repair slows down, waste products accumulate, and oxidative stress increases. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Imagine your brain and retina as sensitive instruments in a factory. During the day, they're busy processing information, visual input, and metabolic signals. At night, the factory floor shuts down, the cleanup crew comes in, and all the mess from the day gets cleared away. Now imagine the cleanup crew trying to work while heavy machinery is still running. They can't do their job efficiently. Nighttime glucose spikes are like keeping heavy machinery running during cleanup. Damage accumulates over time, day after day. This matters even more in seniors because insulin sensitivity declines with age, meaning the same amount of carbohydrate can cause larger glucose excursions at night. Oxidative stress increases over time since neurons and retinal cells don't regenerate like other tissues. Inflammation persists more easily, and chronic low-grade inflammation is a key driver of age-related cognitive decline and eye diseases like macular degeneration. Research shows that polyphenol-rich foods, especially berries, deliver complex antioxidants that protect neurons, improve blood flow, and reduce oxidative damage. These compounds can cross the blood-brain barrier and exert measurable effects on neuronal signaling and inflammation, helping slow age-related cognitive changes. One remarkable human study from the University of California, Davis found that eating a modest serving of dried goji berries over several months increased protective pigments in the retina, lutein and zeaxanthin, which act like natural sunscreen for your eyes. These pigments help filter harmful blue light and reduce oxidative stress linked to age-related macular degeneration, a leading cause of vision loss in seniors. What the research on berries collectively shows is this: berry polyphenols and carotenoids reduce inflammation and oxidative stress in brain tissue. These nutrients improve neural signaling and blood flow, which supports memory, executive function, and processing speed. Compounds like lutein and zeaxanthin in goji berries accumulate in the retina and help protect against light-induced damage and age-related degeneration. All of this happens because these phytochemicals interact with metabolic pathways that regulate inflammation, oxidative stress, and cellular energy, exactly the systems that are most taxed as we get older. Now let's talk about insulin and timing. Eating sugar or high glycemic snacks before bed raises blood glucose. Even mild spikes suppress melatonin and interrupt growth hormone signaling, both of which are essential for repair. The result? Arrested cleanup operations in your brain and retina, night after night. But when you choose foods that have fiber, antioxidants, and low glycemic impact, you create a metabolic environment that stabilizes blood sugar, reduces inflammation, supports antioxidant pathways, enhances nighttime repair, and this is where a well-selected dried fruit comes into play, not as a standard sugary snack, but as a nutrient-dense, low glycemic intervention with brain and eye benefits. If this is helpful so far, consider subscribing. I post evidence-based, actionable health strategies like this every day. Now let's talk about the dried fruit itself, because this is where most people get confused. When people hear dried fruit, they think of raisins, dates, or sweetened cranberries. And metabolically speaking, that concern is valid. Many dried fruits are essentially condensed sugar, stripped of water but not balanced with fiber, minerals, or protective compounds. Eaten at night, they spike glucose, raise insulin, and shut down the very repair systems we want to activate. But goji berries behave very differently in the body. Here's what makes them unique. Goji berries are not just dried fruit. They're a functional food used in traditional medicine for centuries, and modern nutritional science now explains why. Unlike most dried fruits, goji berries contain a rare combination of low glycemic carbohydrates, soluble fiber, carotenoids, polyphenols, and trace minerals that work synergistically. Let me explain this with a whiteboard-style breakdown. First, blood sugar response. Goji berries have a relatively low glycemic load when eaten in small amounts. The fiber and unique polysaccharides slow glucose absorption, preventing sharp insulin spikes. This means they don't wake up the pancreas aggressively at night, a crucial distinction for seniors. Second, retinal protection. Goji berries are one of the richest natural sources of zeaxanthin, a carotenoid that concentrates specifically in the macula of the eye. Zeaxanthin acts like internal sunglasses, filtering damaging blue light and reducing oxidative stress in retinal cells. This is especially important at night because cumulative light exposure during the day creates oxidative damage that must be repaired during sleep. What the research shows is that regular, modest consumption of goji berries increases macular pigment density, which is directly linked to lower risk of age-related vision decline. This isn't theoretical, it's measurable in human studies. Third, brain protective compounds. Goji berries contain polyphenols that cross the blood-brain barrier. These compounds reduce neuroinflammation, support mitochondrial function, and improve cerebral blood flow. In simple terms, they help brain cells produce energy more efficiently and protect them from age-related damage. Here's the key insight most people miss. The brain and eyes are fat-rich tissues. They are highly vulnerable to oxidative damage, especially at night, when repair should occur. The antioxidants in goji berries don't stimulate the brain, they protect it while it rests. That's a critical distinction. Now let's address the sugar concern directly. Yes, goji berries contain natural sugars, but context matters. When eaten, in small amounts earlier in the evening and paired correctly, they do not behave like dessert. They behave like a targeted nutrient delivery system. Think of it this way. A spoonful of goji berries at night is not fuel, it's repair material. This is why, in functional medicine, we don't label foods as good or bad. We ask, what does this food do hormonally, neurologically, and metabolically, and when? In seniors, where insulin sensitivity is lower and oxidative stress is higher, goji berries provide retinal antioxidants support neural protection, gentle glucose stability, mineral support for nighttime nervous system calm. And this brings us to an important behavioral point. If you're currently eating cookies, crackers, cereal, or fruit juice at night, replacing that habit with a measured serving of goji berries dramatically shifts the metabolic outcome, even though calories may look similar on paper. If this insight is resonating, take a moment to subscribe. I share strategies like this daily, not trends, but tools grounded in physiology. Next, I'll show you the exact nighttime protocol, how many goji berries to eat, when to eat them, what to pair them with, and who should adjust or avoid them altogether. Now let's make this practical, because information only matters if you can use it. Here's the exact nighttime protocol for seniors to support brain and eye healing using goji berries, without raising blood sugar, disrupting sleep, or promoting weight gain. First, timing matters more than quantity. The ideal window is 60 to 90 minutes after dinner, and at least 60 minutes before bedtime. This timing allows insulin to remain low enough for melatonin and growth hormone to rise, while still delivering protective nutrients before nighttime repair begins. Eating goji berries right before bed is a mistake. Eating them too early in the afternoon misses the nighttime repair window. This middle zone is where physiology works with you. Second, portion size is critical. The therapeutic dose is one small handful, about 10 to 15 dried goji berries, not a bowl. Not a snack bag, just enough to deliver carotenoids, polyphenols, and minerals without overwhelming glucose regulation. Let me explain why this works. At this dose, the fiber and polysaccharides slow absorption, while the antioxidants are absorbed efficiently. Insulin response stays modest, and the brain and eyes receive the compounds they need before repair cycles begin. More is not better here. More turns a tool into a problem. Third, pairing determines metabolic impact. Never eat goji berries alone at night. Pair them with a few raw almonds or walnuts or Greek yogurt, or a small piece of cheese. Why? Because fat and protein blunt glucose response. They slow digestion and stabilize insulin. This keeps melatonin intact and prevents nighttime awakenings. Think of fat and protein as the escort that helps nutrients reach their destination safely. Fourth, hydration and preparation matter. For seniors with sensitive digestion, soaking goji berries in warm water for 5 to 10 minutes softens the fiber and improves mineral absorption. This also makes them gentler on the gut. Avoid sweetened or sulfur-treated varieties. Choose organic, unsweetened goji berries whenever possible. Now let's talk about who should modify this protocol. If you have type 2 diabetes, prediabetes, or are on glucose-lowering medications. Start with 5 to 7 berries, not 10-15. Monitor fasting glucose and sleep quality. If numbers stay stable, you can slowly increase. If you experience bloating, reduce the dose or soak them longer. This is not about forcing the body. It's about listening to it. Here's the deeper principle. Nighttime nutrition should reduce stress hormones, not stimulate them. When done correctly, this protocol supports stable blood sugar, better sleep quality, improved retinal protection, calmer nighttime nervous system. Many seniors report fewer nighttime awakenings, less eye strain, improved morning clarity, more stable energy the next day. That's not coincidence. That's physiology aligning. If this breakdown is helping you rethink nighttime eating, consider subscribing. I post clear, science-driven strategies like this every day to help you optimize aging naturally. Next, we'll cover who should be cautious, common mistakes to avoid, and how to personalize this even further, because no protocol should be one size fits all. Now let's talk about the mistakes, because even a good tool can backfire if it's used incorrectly. The first and most common mistake is treating this like dessert. Remember, goji berries are not a sweet treat. They're a targeted nutritional intervention. When seniors eat large portions, especially straight from the bag, blood sugar rises, insulin stays elevated longer, and nighttime repair is interrupted. The same food that can support healing suddenly works against it. Here's what's really going on inside your body when that happens. Excess sugar at night increases insulin, and insulin directly suppresses growth hormone and melatonin, two hormones essential for brain repair, eye tissue regeneration, and memory consolidation. This means the brain's cleanup system slows down, and retinal cells don't get the repair time they need. Second mistake, eating them too late. If goji berries are eaten right before bed, digestion competes with sleep physiology. Blood flow is pulled toward the gut instead of the brain. Heart rate stays elevated, sleep becomes lighter, and healing becomes fragmented. Think of it like trying to renovate a house while people are still walking through the hallways. Timing creates order. Third mistake, ignoring individual metabolic health. Here's where functional medicine thinking matters. Not every senior has the same insulin sensitivity, gut health, or medication profile. That doesn't mean this approach isn't useful. It means it must be personalized. Let's break this down clearly. If you have type 2 diabetes or prediabetes, your liver and muscle cells are already struggling with glucose handling. That doesn't mean you must avoid goji berries entirely, but your dose must be lower and your pairing must be precise. Start with 5 berries, always paired with protein and fat, never eaten alone. Monitor morning fasting glucose for 3 to 5 days. If glucose stays stable and sleep improves, your body is tolerating it. If glucose rises, reduce or pause. That's feedback, not failure. If you are on blood pressure or blood thinning medications, moderation is also important. Goji berries can mildly influence circulation and nitric oxide signaling. This is generally beneficial, but only at small, controlled doses. If you have digestive sensitivity, bloating, or IBS, preparation matters more than quantity. Soaking the berries reduces fermentability and improves tolerance. Chewing thoroughly also matters. Digestion begins in the mouth. Here's a principle I want you to remember. Healing foods don't force change. They invite adaptation. Now let's talk about expectations. This is not a one-night miracle. Brain and eye tissue heal slowly and cumulatively. The benefits come from consistency, not intensity. Most people notice better sleep quality within 7 to 10 days, reduced eye fatigue within 2 to 3 weeks, subtle improvements in focus and clarity over 4 to 6 weeks. That timeline matches what we know about neuronal repair, antioxidant accumulation in the retina, and circadian rhythm stabilization. Another mistake is stacking too many interventions at once. If you suddenly add goji berries, supplements, fasting, blue light glasses, and sleep aids all together, you won't know what's helping or what's hurting. One change at a time. That's how you build trust with your body. Here's the deeper takeaway. Nighttime healing depends on simplicity, rhythm, and respect for physiology. When seniors stop fighting their bodies and start working with circadian biology, small interventions create outsized results. Next, we'll bring everything together, connecting brain health, eye protection, metabolic stability, and longevity, and I'll give you a clear, simple challenge to try starting tonight. Now let's zoom out, because this isn't just about one dried fruit or one nighttime habit. This is about how aging actually works at the cellular level. Healthy aging is not the absence of disease. It's the preservation of cellular communication, energy production, and repair capacity. And the brain and eyes are often the first places where aging becomes visible. Memory lapses, visual strain, slower processing, reduced night vision. Here's what's really happening underneath those symptoms. As we age, 3 systems decline in parallel. Mitochondrial efficiency. Cells produce energy less efficiently. Antioxidant defenses. Oxidative damage accumulates faster than it's cleared. Circadian signaling. Repair hormones are released less predictably. When these systems weaken, neurons and retinal cells, which demand enormous amounts of energy, begin to suffer first. Now let me explain why nighttime nutrition is such a powerful lever. At night, your body is not trying to burn fuel, it's trying to repair infrastructure. This is when damaged proteins are recycled, mitochondria are cleaned up through autophagy, and inflammatory signals are quieted. But this process only works when insulin is low and melatonin is high. This is why a carefully chosen, low-dose, antioxidant-rich food can enhance longevity, not by feeding the body, but by protecting it during repair. Goji berries fit this role uniquely. Their carotenoids protect retinal mitochondria from oxidative stress. Their polyphenols reduce inflammatory signaling in the brain. Their trace minerals support enzymatic reactions involved in DNA repair and antioxidant recycling. In other words, they support the hardware of longevity. What the research on polyphenol-rich foods consistently shows is that they reduce chronic inflammation, improve vascular function and blood flow, support cognitive resilience with aging, protect tissues most vulnerable to oxidative damage. And here's the important nuance. These benefits are dose-dependent and timing-dependent. The same compounds that protect neurons at night can overstimulate metabolism if taken in excess or at the wrong time. This is why seniors who snack late often feel restless sleep, morning brain fog, eye dryness, or strain. Their repair window is being interrupted. When nighttime nutrition is simplified and targeted, the opposite happens. Many seniors report deeper, more restorative sleep, sharper morning vision, improved focus, and emotional steadiness, more consistent energy during the day. These are not isolated effects. They're the result of improved metabolic rhythm. Let me use one more analogy. Think of aging like maintaining a classic car. You don't floor the engine at night, you service it, you clean it, you protect it from rust. Goji berries, used correctly, are not fuel, they're protective coating. And this brings us to longevity. Longevity isn't about living longer at any cost. It's about preserving function, seeing clearly, thinking clearly, and sleeping deeply for as long as possible. When seniors respect circadian biology, reduce nighttime insulin spikes, and deliver targeted antioxidants during repair windows, they don't just slow aging, they age better. If this perspective is helping you reframe health and aging, consider subscribing. I share science-backed, practical tools like this every day to help you protect your health naturally. Next, we'll wrap this up with a clear summary, practical next steps, and a simple challenge you can start tonight. Now let's simplify everything into a routine you can actually follow, because the most powerful protocols are the ones you can repeat effortlessly. Here's the truth. Your brain and eyes don't need more stimulation. They need predictability, protection, and recovery. And that starts with how you close your day. Let's walk through a simple, senior-friendly night routine that integrates everything we've discussed, without supplements, complicated tracking, or extreme diets. First, finish dinner earlier than you think. Aim to complete dinner at least 3 hours before bedtime. This allows insulin to decline naturally and signals the body that the feeding window is closing. When insulin drops, melatonin and growth hormone can rise, and that's when repair begins. Second, dim the environment. About 90 minutes before bed, reduce overhead lighting and screen exposure. This step alone improves melatonin release and primes the brain for sleep. Remember, light exposure and insulin spikes work together to disrupt repair. Third, the goji berry protocol. About 60-90 minutes after dinner, prepare 10-15 goji berries, or 5-7 if you're glucose sensitive, paired with protein or fat, nuts, yogurt, or cheese. Optional, soak berries in warm water for digestion. Eat slowly, chew well. This is not a snack, it's a signal. The signal says, fuel is done, repair is supported, the nervous system can calm. Fourth, no grazing afterward. Once this step is complete, the kitchen is closed. Even small bites of carbohydrate afterward can restart insulin and fragment sleep. This boundary is essential. Fifth, protect sleep quality. Go to bed at a consistent time. Your circadian system thrives on rhythm. The more predictable your sleep schedule, the more efficient brain detox and retinal repair become. Now let me address a concern many seniors have. This feels too simple. That's exactly the point. Your biology responds better to consistent signals than complex interventions. Healing is not about force, it's about alignment. One more important clarification. If you're already sleeping well and have stable energy, this routine is not mandatory. But if you struggle with night awakenings, morning brain fog, visual strain, fatigue despite eating healthy, this is a low-risk, high-feedback experiment. Track just 3 things for 2 weeks. sleep depth, morning clarity, eye comfort. If those improve, your body is telling you something important. Now here's the deeper lesson I want you to take with you. Aging does not mean decline by default. Decline happens when repair windows are chronically interrupted. When seniors respect circadian biology and choose foods that support, not sabotage, nighttime repair, the body responds. You don't need to do everything. You just need to do one thing consistently. And this brings us to the conclusion, where I'll summarize the key insights and give you a clear, simple challenge to start tonight. Let's bring this home, calmly, clearly, and practically. What we've been talking about today is not a superfood, a trend, or a shortcut. It's a physiological strategy rooted in how the aging body actually repairs itself. Here are the key insights to remember. First, the brain and eyes are not passive at night. They are actively healing. Waste is cleared, light-induced damage is repaired, and neural connections are strengthened. But this only happens efficiently when insulin is low and inflammation is controlled. Second, most nighttime snacks, even healthy ones, unintentionally block repair by raising blood sugar, suppressing melatonin, and fragmenting sleep. Third, goji berries are different. Not because they're magical, but because their nutrient profile matches nighttime biology when used correctly. Their carotenoids protect the retina. Their polyphenols reduce neuroinflammation. Their fiber and polysaccharides moderate glucose response. Fourth, timing and dose matter more than the food itself. A small amount, eaten earlier in the evening and paired with protein or fat, supports repair. Large portions or late-night eating disrupt it. Fifth, this approach works best when it's simple and consistent. The body doesn't respond to force, it responds to rhythm. Now here's your challenge. For the next 14 nights, try just this. Finish dinner at least 3 hours before bed, 60-90 minutes after dinner. Eat 10-15 goji berries, or 5 to 7 if glucose sensitive, paired with protein or fat. Close the kitchen afterward, go to bed at a consistent time, that's it. No supplements, no extreme rules. Track only 3 things: sleep quality, morning mental clarity, eye comfort or strain. If those improve, you've learned something powerful about your own physiology. And if they don't, you've gained feedback, which is just as valuable. This is how sustainable health is built. Small experiments guided by science, repeated consistently. Aging well is not about fighting your body. It's about understanding it and making choices that allow it to do what it already knows how to do. If this video added value to your life, take a moment to like it and subscribe. You'll be joining a community focused on clear thinking, healthy aging, and practical evidence-based strategies, not hype. And remember, start with one change tonight and let your body show you what's possible. Thank you for listening.